So, in the directions, the next step after we have all the data, we want to make it look nice, and that's why we did the inverted thing. I think we even did that. That's where we left off. So here is just, these have all been my suggestions to you, the student who is learning how to interpret data, how to prepare data. You need to work on making data and visuals that work for you. How can you best explain what's going on? What did you find, and how can you express that? Do not do exactly, that's why on this one, we're supposed to do 5 visuals, and you make bullet points and make those visuals really express the bullet points. And students keep emailing me, well, what should I make it of then? And I said, you just make it up what you find significant. I don't want you to do exactly what I do. I want you to look for things. We've been doing the same thing. For downloading the data took about 20 minutes in class that day. It's been 3 weeks. In those 3 weeks, I would hope that you would find some things that are significant in this data. So when you write what happens in the data, it's the researcher that is interpreting it. As you get better, you will find more things in data that are significant. As you learn more programs, not just Excel, they're going to make it easier for you to find significant values in it. So I give an example of something to find. Well, first of all, like last time, we made a pie graph of the Black, Latin, and white in Miami. Because of everything that's written, people have been saying for like a long time, oh, Miami has like a Latin feel. Like, you know, I remember back in the day of Miami Vice, they say, oh, that Gloria Estefan was on like the show, and Miami's a Latin feel. Nonetheless, it's a white guy and a black guy being the cops. So, people got this idea that Miami is a Latin feel without realizing it is the most Latin city in America. We are in this, they call this the capital of Latin America. But you don't even know. If you're not here, they just think, oh, it's kind of Latin-y, really Cuban. But you know, there's like a lot of rappers that come from here, and you think that like maybe there's a bigger black population. But it's not. It's not even 1 million black people that live here. When we made the pie chart, we saw, holy cow, there's 70% Latin. That's crazy. There's no one, LA is not like that. What's another city? San Antonio maybe is Latin? I don't know. Some Texas cities probably, I guess. I don't know. I've never been to Texas, but I think some of those are pretty Latin, but nothing compares to Miami. We make the pie chart, wow, you see it. When we make visuals, see here we got words that we're writing, we got a table. So the table's hard to read, the words should make it easier, but just making everything clear as ever, that's why we make the visual. I brought up the last class too, I pulled up like military spending. You can talk about everything to do about like military spending when you see U.S. federal spending. When you see this visual, it becomes abundantly clear like, oh, yeah, we spend a lot on the military. All that other stuff is on this side. Over here, you see, this thing is probably like a 2,000-page document. Actually, it's probably a lot longer than that. This discretionary spending of the U.S. government is probably like a 10,000-page document. Something huge. Right? You can read that whole thing, boring, lawyer talk, lobby talk, whatever. But you see the visual, and it becomes abundantly clear at the end of the day. That's why we make visuals. We're taking complicated data and making it easy and clear for other people to understand. So the reason why we even start off with a pie chart, you see this one, like water on Earth, maybe? There'll be a visual of what I'm talking about, images. You ever taken a hydrography class? No, why would you? But all semester, all of those books, all of that science and like, radiation from the sun and the water cycle, all it comes down to this. Earth is water, we're water, but of all the water on the earth, only this little bit is even fresh water. Of that little bit, most of it's in glaciers. The only thing that we have access to is that little bit of that little bit, and here is where it is. You see how that visual just summed up a whole semester's worth of a class? So a visual in a visual, to give it context, is also really, it can be really necessary. So that's why we even just started off with just a basic generic one, breaking down Latin and Black in terms of poverty and diploma in Miami. So that first one, the pie chart of just how Latin Miami is like this first circle, this first thing here. So now anything we're talking about is in the context that, so if we see that like poverty in Black areas is like, 35% of the poverty is Black and 65% of it is Latin. Well, damn, Miami's only like 18% Black though. Yeah, that's the kind of context. Somebody calculated horizontal, so we want to, let's make a line graph making fair comparisons of our percents. Fair comparisons of percents, meaning what we are deciding to make percents of needs to make sense. You can't just grab columns and divide them to make a percent that is totally out of context. The other thing is, and I say it in step 2 right here, but I don't know if in 3 weeks you could have gotten to page 2 of a document. That's a little sarcasm. Because I don't think people got this, but it's right there at the beginning of page 2. All right. Constants and variables. When we did the AIDS assignment, we were testing age to these 3 other factors. So we're seeing what's the correlation of married women to AIDS? What's the correlation of the Black population to AIDS? What's the correlation of low-income people to AIDS? This is the constant. AIDS is what we're testing for. What are we doing here? Yes.
We're like no diploma.
No diploma. Yes. That's when everything else is being compared to. Is there a relationship between 18 to 24-year-olds that are low income and then the percent is no diploma? Is there a relationship? What is the male and female? That's why we got the male and female. Of being poor, of being Latin. Is there just an overall Latin thing? So one thing I even just tested for also is just to see, is there a difference between no diploma and male and female poverty? Let's just make that one really quick. It's a problem of using somebody else's data. All right, I'm going to want, this is no diploma. Copy that into here. This one is total poverty. So this one is poverty. This is 18 to 24. All right, so this is male, female. All right, so insert down there. Equals this divided by this. No, not that. just calculated the poverty, male and female, right? That is income below poverty. That is that. I don't like these numbers. I don't think this is correct, actually. That's the problem with using somebody else's data. Let's just say. All right. And now, if I made what is this, male, female, insert. Right. So this is the man. No diploma is the blue line. Male and female. There isn't really just a general male and female poverty differentiation, right? That becomes pretty clear that the male and female poverty is basically the same across the whole county. And it kind of follows a similar pattern, except for Hialeah, where no diploma goes down, it's not impacting it. But everywhere else, we see a relationship. Where it goes up, it goes up. When it comes down, it goes down. Everywhere. It goes down a little bit, it goes down a little, almost like at the same rate even. Would you have thought that Homestead was the place with the most the place with the highest no diplomas? Would you have thought that? I didn't, but then I thought about it. It's like, I can see that. This is the total population without a diploma. This is just practice. This is kind of like doing jumping jacks before you do so. Like everything we do in this semester is just like a warm-up drill. We're just practicing playing with data. Real life social sciences, what is happening in Miami with gentrification? Gentrification is so wonderful as a social scientist because it combines race, economics, changes in the city, immigration. All of the different things of social science come into this, probably the biggest civil rights thing that's happening in our generation is a right to housing, and people are getting displaced and got nowhere to go. I asked, I think last class, didn't I ask about gentrification also? And Miami is like an odd place, because the whole thing is just a housing scheme from like a long time ago. But certainly you can see it doesn't take a data wizard to see that Overtown will no longer be soon. There will no longer be poor people or black people in Overtown. Can you tell? Do you know what the Miami World Center is? The World Center is the biggest development project going on in South Florida right now. Billions of public money and lots of billions of private money being dumped into, and at the center of it is that Bright Line train station. The Bright Line gets you to Orlando in less than 2 hours, I think. It gets you to Fort Lauderdale in 20 minutes. But surrounding there is like all types of stuff. And it's really, when you go, you can see it. What bridge is that? When you get off like 95 and say you want to go to the beach, or like the first one, my fault, the first one coming from the south. So like, I think that's 195. You can see all of this construction. It's just like a hollow pit of hell. But yeah, the reason like Overtown is not being, if there's construction going on everywhere and everything is being renovated, but nothing's happening to Overtown, is because Overtown's just going to be demolished. They're not. If you look at every apartment building there that really should probably be condemned, because we have like in rights to housing, we have like if pipes are this old, they need to be replaced. That stuff hasn't been updated in forever. But on every one of those buildings that's like more than 5 units, it has a for sale sign on it. Or you can look up the tax records and it's already been bought and sold, and they're just waiting to just demolish the whole thing and kick everybody out. Like no other place, we will see displacement of low-income, voiceless population right here in Overtown. So, where are they going to go, you think? Have you never thought about when people... Aren't y'all from here? Who's not from Dade County? You from Broward County? You're from Broward County. If you're not from Dade, you're from Broward, except for you. Where are you from? Tampa? Okay. Where are you from?
Well, I wasn't born here.
There's nobody in Miami.
Yeah, you're right. Broward.
Broward. Okay, so everybody's from Dade and Broward. You don't know what I'm talking about. There's a place called Coconut Grove. The west part of Coconut Grove was the black part. It is now, I tried to buy a house in West Grove. I couldn't. It's too damn expensive. And it's not nice either, and it's just expensive. But I think you can see the difference between the black Coconut Grove and the white Coconut Grove. This is US 1. Right. So this is Coconut Grove. This part with no trees is the black part. This part that's all overgrown is that really nice tropical feeling part. It's real white. So, every time one of these houses gets sold, that was mostly black owner-occupied housing in West Grove. So, but now that houses are well over $300,000 in West Grove, you can't really buy any property for less than $300,000 there, and they go way up above that. But it's still mostly black, and if you're on Grand, like right at the CVS, all commercial development stops. Like this is all nice, and there's Jaguar restaurants, expensive restaurants, and Bentleys and cars I never heard of. And as soon as you get to 32nd, tumbleweeds. But nonetheless, all of these houses are very expensive. Every time one of those people who had historically owned it, and that was the historically black part of Coconut Grove, every time they sell one of those houses get sold, who's buying it, and where does the population go that just sold it? You think they just move over here, buy one of these houses with it? No. This is the $1 billion part. They go to Homestead, or they go way up north or way down south, because everything else in the middle is too expensive. That's what gentrification means. Surely, they can't afford to stay there, but it's the only asset for most of this population. So trying to hold on to it, but they can't, because now they can get $350,000 for a place that needs everything. And one by one, then people aren't even moving into those houses. They're just tearing it down and building $1 billion houses there. So these type of people are getting the short end of the stick, but getting enough money to get the hell out, and they end up in way all along Miami. There's little pockets of low-income neighborhoods, like when you get below 200th Street. So in our subdivisions, what they're calling Homestead is really, I think, from about 225 all the way down to Florida City. They're just calling all of that Homestead there. So when the no diploma rate just shot up in Homestead, who else lives in Homestead? You do? Yeah.
Well, I live like kind of the border, which is
Between what? Redlands?
And Cumberland, yeah.
Okay. Homestead is it was real farmland, like in our lifetime. Like actual people didn't really even think of themselves as living in Miami there. That was just farms. Then, like, rich people were like, wow, we could buy this farmland. And really, people were tricking the system, too. They were just like, as long as you have, like, one horse on your property, it's called a farm. So you don't have to pay taxes because you're a farmer. So super rich people would buy like 10 acres, build a mansion, and just make sure they have a horse and some hay and shit like that. And they wouldn't have to pay taxes on it. Or like such a small tax, because it would be called an equestrian estate or something like that. So homesteads got a mix of mansions, really low income people, immigrants who are just laborers on the farms that are still there, then kind of middle class people who trying to act like they're rich and they built a ton of big mansions there, and the displacement of everybody from like, where do people from Overtown go? Where could you possibly go if you like your household income is $1,000 a month? Where could you possibly live? In a trailer in like Homestead. Or like public housing way down there. They are closing even Liberty City, the huge public housing that takes up like, I'm not from here. Do you know that? And like I feel like I'm describing this city more than most of you know. I've been here for just 5 years, I think. Even Liberty City, which probably most of us, like, when we get off at the wrong exit, get back onto the highway quickly. There's I forget what it's called, there's a housing project that basically goes from like 17th to like 27th Ave and like, I don't know. It's like, you can see it from the air. It is huge. It doesn't look like this. So, I'm talking about this right here. This public housing.
That's called the pork and beans.
Yeah, the pork and beans, exactly. You didn't even talk about that in Chick Daddy songs or something, or like. Yeah, that's getting shut down. All those people got to go. They're going to tear that down and build mixed income development. So where are all those people going to go? South or north, just away from here. Huge housing development there. There's another one. Where do I go? 27. You should just be able to see it. I don't know. But the point being, that's what gentrification is. That is the part about gentrification that we worry about and try to do something to make sure that people have a right to housing is because of the displacement that occurs. It's wonderful. Who the hell would want to live in a place that's been burnt out? I tell you, I'm from D.C. D.C., they never fixed it after the riots in 1968. I was born in 76, and it was just burnt out. It looked like World War II had a battle in D.C. It looked like half of buildings were there. Now it's beautiful. D.C. is wonderful. And who wanted to live with burnt out half a building? But the problem is, once all that gets fixed, who the hell can afford to stay there? So as a city, we want to try to work on things to make sure that the population that wants to stay there has a right to stay in their neighborhood, even though there's all this new people and new money that also wants this location. So how can we create a city where everybody can have a right to be there? That's in the leftist progressive cities. In Miami, they're just like bringing in bulldozers. Like the way that they got people out of Wynwood was just crazy. I couldn't believe they just told people you got to leave in 2 weeks, and they brought out bulldozers and knocked down buildings. You can't do that like in the Northeast. Yes.
Was there like a type of civil protest?
Here?
Well, regarding what you just talked about.
Oh yeah, people have been protesting in D.C. This is how they have such for 50 years to make sure that people have a right to housing and a right to you can't just kick somebody out. Here, if I'm a landlord and I just want to do something different with my apartment and you're renting it, I can just kick you out. I don't really need to give you a reason. Even if you're paying on time, I want to just, I want different people in there that are going to pay more, and I can just get you out. Or I just want to tear it down and build something bigger. I think most of the cities from D.C. to Boston and then the whole Bay Area in Seattle, all those cities where I broke out the map that are progressive and rich and mattering to the economy all of those same cities have housing rights that, like, you just can't kick somebody out. If they're paying your rent, there's nothing you can really do to get them out of there. Even if they're not paying their rent, it's going to go to court and it's going to take forever. And as long as then the tenant can work something out with the judge, the landlord can't really do anything. Now, most people in Miami look at that, even as working class renters, most people in Miami look at that like, that's crazy. Why would the renter have so much right over the homeowner? Why?
I was going to add on to that question. Isn't there usually like housing protection or housing rights?
Yeah, Miami doesn't have very much housing protection or rights. If I wanted you out, I could definitely kick you out within 30 days. And literally, if you like, just I put it on the door, I give you warning, and if you're not out, I can just throw your stuff out. And that's why I said people in Miami would be shocked at how much right the tenant has, the renter has, over the homeowner's property. And it's a different paradigm. It is a different mentality because in Miami, in all of Florida, like, housing is an investment. You think of housing as like this whole state was built off of like real estate development. In other places, they don't look at it that way. If you're a landlord, you're providing a service to the public. This isn't I live here. This is my home I built. You're providing me a service. This isn't your investment. Me as a renter, this is my home, and I have a right to live and breathe, like food, clothes, and shelter kind of stuff. So the landlord, if the landlord wants to make money, it better fit into all of these services. That you're a housing provider. The idea of just speculating on stuff and using renters to pay your mortgage while you're speculating is crazy and probably dangerous, and probably why Florida suffered so much in the housing crisis in 2008. It still hasn't really recovered because those $1 billion big mansions in Homestead, they're never going to be $1 million. They're like, you can still pick them up for like $150,000, $200,000 right now. Anyway, I think I got off topic.
When you said $1 million houses for $150,000.
Yeah, that's Homestead. Don't buy it though. That's a bad idea.
It's because Homestead's too far from anything.
It's far from everything, and it's never going to go up because all the poor people who get displaced from the inner core of Miami, they got to go down there. There's no other place that you can afford to live for that displaced population. And for that guy who just walked in late, we were looking at why, even Miami Gardens, the no diploma is kind of like how the rest of the city is. There's not that much variation, right? But you see Homestead, it just shoots right up. Anyway, so in the directions, we are trying to compare the relationship of no diploma. Same way we were doing AIDS to these different factors, we're doing no diploma to these other things that are going on in the city. Be it poverty, gender, poverty within an age group. We're trying to find things that are significant. And I can't say this enough, I say this a lot of times, is that I know this is the first time, like, some of you are just dealing with Excel for the first time. Much less, like, dealing with data and finding things that are significant in data. Like, we're not going to be making recommendations to the mayor based on this. It wants you to sign in. Is it still recording if it's asking you to sign in? I wouldn't want anybody to miss any of this. So if this is your first time doing this kind of thing, I get it. It's not going to be, it's hard, but understand this is practice for what a social scientist does. So You try your best. There is no gotcha moment. I think a lot of professors in their head, they're like me. And they want to just get you and be like, look how smart I am, and you never figured it out. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to just make sure everybody can leave knowing how to, on whatever level you get to, know how to figure out what is going on in data and be able to explain it so you can convey what I just explained about your city. You can convey complicated stuff to the public about what is going on with people in an area. That's what we do as social scientists. That's it. And this is your city. You should be able to do it without the data. What's going on in your city? So you see what's going, like Homestead, and it just jumped right up. Well, that's what, as a social scientist, we should be combining everything that's been happening to say, oh, well, that kind of makes sense. I looked at it and said, wow, it shoots right up. What the hell's happening in Homestead? Oh, yeah, Homestead. A lot of displaced people end up in Homestead. Let me just plug one more thing. I say this all the time to, what's her name? Vargas. Yes.
Were we supposed to, regarding the diploma for total male and female, were we supposed to divide by the total population and then multiply it to turn into a percentage or no?
Say that again.
Sorry, were we supposed for the diploma regarding for the total male
Diploma
and
came
female?
as a percent already. Look at that. Say it again. My fault.
No, because I wanted to ask, were we supposed to divide regarding for the total no diploma, male no diploma, and female diploma to make it turn into a percentage? Because the thing is, from what I got, for example, the total.
No diploma. Oh, right here. The number. No, that's his number. What the hell is this?
Was it already like when it was downloaded directly from the census? Was it already a percentage?
Yeah.
Okay.
It already came as a percent. I said that was just coming as a no diploma. It doesn't have male and female breaking down in there, I think. I don't know, did it? Again, I didn't just download this. I just grabbed another students and just was using it.
I think it was just, we had the total population and then just less than 9th grade and then 9th to 12th grade no diploma. And then just add them together and then divide by the population number. Because I didn't see the percentage one in the census.
Okay, so let me just say one thing to do next Wednesday. I think next Wednesday is the 28th. We're having an event at Vicky's. I hate to use class time to talk about this, but no, I don't care. I use class time to talk about this. At Vicky's, there's this thing we do every semester. We're trying to have it twice a semester. It's called Science Cafe. It's kind of like Nerd Night Miami. Nerd Night's not just in Miami, it's across the whole country. This is what being an educated person means. And one day you're going to have a college degree, and you're going to walk around, your mom's going to get it framed, and you're going to put it up on the wall of your office, and you'll be like, see, Dr. Scott, I did it. I got a diploma, a degree. I'm educated. I'm like, you still watch, like, Hip-Hop Housewives of Miami or something. That's not what educated people do. This is not the boring talk. When you hear about talks and it's just some stuffy room and you just go hear a lecture, this is not a lecture. This is a talk by an expert in the field about immigration and deportation. She is a PhD student who doesn't necessarily want to be a professor. She wants to be a better activist. She's been working at BTC and Crow in the detention centers for the past 3 years, volunteering to where now she has a position there, and she's just using that experience to get a PhD in it. She's giving a talk over at Vicky's at 6:30 on Wednesday. This is the kind of informal talk. It's not a dissertation talk. It's not a lecture. It is just kind of an interactive discussion. And then after she's done, we're going to have a drink, set up on the patio, and have some conversations about immigration and deportation and detention and the political climate of America in 2018. So please do join us. In the direction. Alright. Poverty that is Latin, male and female, and then let's compare that one. Make a new sheet. You can just keep on making sheets. Making sheets is like easier to keep things organized too. This is total poverty. No, that's total population. Shit. See, this one is poverty. Yes. Total poverty. And that's Latin. This is Latin. That's male. That's female. Black. Male. Copy this. So that's Latin poverty. Latin male poverty. Latin female poverty. Black poverty. Black male poverty. Black female poverty. Latin poverty equals C divided by B times 100 equals this divided by this times 100. Female poverty is this divided by this times 100. Black poverty is that's black. This is it. Black divided by this. The other day when I said, what did I say? I said so many things. Jewels I dropped. Wait, I can be out this one. That there was a Latin takeover in Miami. Looking at this, all right, the only place where the black poverty out of the total poverty is really high is in Miami Gardens. And that's to be expected. But it's only 63% of all poverty is black poverty in Miami Gardens. 36% of poverty in Miami Gardens is Latin poverty. Would you have even thought that Miami Gardens had that much of a Latin population that it would be, even of the poor people, a third of them are Latin? You would. Miami Gardens?
I used to live there. I used to go to school there. A lot of Latin kids.
Yeah, now it didn't used to be like I'm 40 something ish, kinda. You think of Miami Gardens as being the black part of Miami.
Yeah, it used to be.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a Latin takeover. That even when you go up, and sometimes I just drive around. Sometimes I don't even have a car, but when I have a car, I drive around. Like go up like say 27. Like if 95, if I gotta go north at 95, I just don't want to be in traffic on 95. Then you go all the way up 27, and it like turns into this other road that goes across like a swamp, and then like it takes you over to 95 up by Glades. I think it's number 9 or something. Anyway, it's a nice way to go. Anyway, if you just go all the way up 27, you're going through Liberty City, you're going through Opelika, but even there'll be like stores that like got Spanish words on it now. Like it didn't use some.
Yeah.
CVS.
See? So true, so true.
Okay, so now I turn all of these into percents here. Actually, I could make this. Oh, I should have done the same thing with this one. All right. We got Latin poverty. I think this is everything that like my first example called for. Latin poverty, Latin male poverty, Latin female poverty, black male poverty, black female poverty. And within that, we can find out is there anything significant that's happening. When we find something significant, it's best to not like all right. This line graph is kind of boring. There is something significant in that Homestead is really sticking out. We see a very good relationship between male and female, that there's no real sexism when it comes to poverty, right? You're kind of equally distributing. Well, actually the females are above the whole time, though. But they're following the same exact relationship, though. And the no diploma is really following a similar relationship, but Homestead, even though it's following a relationship, it goes way up there. But that might be a bullet point, but this is not a very good visual to say that. Maybe within here, if we looked at all the no diplomas and made it as a percent of the population to show how significant Homestead is in having no diplomas. But in the direction that I said, where was it here? Let's see. We want to just test forth the. Oh shoot! I gotta get the no diplomas also. No diploma. Black poverty. All right, so in here, actually, yeah. So there's nothing really happening in here except for one thing I was even just looking at. Wow, the black poverty and the no diploma. Look at that relationship in Homestead as well. I thought I was just going a little rant. I didn't even know I was going to go talking about Overtown and everything, but I'm really wondering. It is perfect. Holy cow, that the black population is value for value, its increase is in the exact relationship of the no diplomas rising in Homestead also. Yes.
So that's how you can tell if something correlates or not?
Yeah, we can see the lines. I mean, a line graph is like, it's not a good visual to present as a visual, but to just see a relationship happening. Yeah, you can see that, like this one, you can see it perfectly there, right? Like you don't need to be that deep into like studying data and this stuff. The same thing with, we see it, how I can say that male and female is not really, poverty is not gender biased in Miami. And the relationship is damn near perfect, right? And it kind of is following along the same relationship. When it increases, that's why the line graph is good. You see, when it increases, then the other one does. If it doesn't, then we see something's off. But there, so it's easier to just see what the relationship is, especially when we're only dealing with 12 different places. But it doesn't make for the best visual. Once you find something significant in there, like I said, perhaps we would want to display just Homestead in a pie chart of all of the no diploma people in Miami. This is way a much larger share of no diplomas for a place that doesn't have the most population either. It's not that big. I mean, it's spatially big, but there's not that many people there. To have that much of the population of no diploma people is crazy. And then even to put it right there with this one, that relationship of the black population and the no diploma is like, it's not, for the rest of them, it's not at all. You see the black population is going, the poverty is going up, it's going down, it's up, it's down, way up in Miami Gardens, but that's only because it's mostly black in Miami Gardens. But you see the relationship perfectly right there. Actually, for the first three places, Everglades is barely any black people. Hialeah is also really low. You start to see some more in Homestead. As soon as it goes up, so does the no diploma. So, I'm going to put up the Dropbox now. What I want you to do is take the rest of this weekend. It's fine. Our next assignments are going to be easier. We're just going to read some articles for a little bit. And I want you to spend some, getting this data took 20 minutes. We did it in class. It was 4 different downloads, and then you just combine them. What's hard is making sense of it, because you have to figure out what to make a percentage of and what to compare. I gave you a start. Now just play with it. How much time do you waste looking at dumb pictures on Instagram? No, count it out. Between now and Sunday, how much hours are you going to waste on that you'll never get back? I'm telling you, you're going to get so much rewards from this. When you make sense of this data, you're like, oh my God, wait a second, maybe I could be employed to do something. I just made sense of some shit that most people are not going to be able to make sense of. For real, most people, 30% of Americans have a college degree, and even amongst the people with college degrees, most of them would not be able to make sense of any social science data. Unique little position here. So, have fun this weekend playing with the data. I got to get some coffee, and I guess I won't see you till next Thursday, but hopefully I'll see you on Wednesday. Yes. You have a question? Yes. Go.
I was hoping I could show it to you.
Show me. Okay.
So, right there to